Hey guys, Zomfox here, and today it is time to go back to a regular Pokemon set in Temporal Forces for the illustration rare tier list. Away from Paldean Fates, which had the insanely low illustration total of like 11, back to a more normal set where we've got about 32 overall illustration rares and SRs to go through. This is a set that honestly is, I feel like, one of the more forgettable sets of the era. I know a lot of people initially, because I think Iron Crown at one point was like the most expensive card of the Scarlet and Violet era for like a day or two, which is really wild, but I think it was something like that. But overall, it's a pretty forgettable set to me. But let's get running into it with the Shift Tree. Now the Shift Tree, a lot of C-dots around it, obviously cute to have, the pre-evolution around it. Well, I should say the basic pre-evolution technically Nuzleaf, but really nice overall. Again, it's very similar to like the Scizor one that we've seen before. It's a really nice artwork. It's one of those that I definitely think is more the forgettable side, despite being a really cool artwork. It does have the issue that to an extent you could just kind of cut part of it off, but because of how the hair goes and where the C-dots do, it's technically a bit longer. Overall, I think this is a solid artwork. I don't think this is the most insane card we've seen before, but I still think this is a good starter. I think this is a solid B tier, so we're going to put it there. Now we have the Grottle. I thought it was a Miro for a second, but I forgot. But this is a cute one. This is one that a lot of people have talked about. It's a super cute card. Having the, Starly above it and the Marill are just super cute. You have the one Marill that's on top of it and the one that's following the path it's making. It is a really cute card in that front. And it's one of the times I actually will excuse having, the card that looks like it can be cut off, because this definitely looks like it could. And the only reason I'll excuse it to an extent is because of the fact that it is such a cute card, and it's kind of the point of it is just, going through. I do think it would be nice to put a little bit more at the very bottom of the card instead of it just being, a teeny bit of water, sand, and like a couple of leaves. It still is a nice card, but I think the bottom being a bit barren does put it down A tier to put it into A tier. It's close to an S tier, but not good enough. Now we have the Deerling. This is a tough one because I'll show in a second, but this one and the Sawsbuck go together perfectly. And if I'm going to be honest, I think because of just how well they go together, the fact that this, the whole Pokemon is the seasonal thing, I have them looking the way you do, I'm going to put the Deerling in S tier. And the reason is because of the Sawsbuck. The Sawsbuck continues the whole thing. You have all the flowers at the very bottom that fully connect to make it to where you have this beautiful artwork that right next to each other just looks gorgeous. It's just like the Plus One Mine we talked about earlier in an earlier video, where by themselves they're still nice cards, but then together they're insane. So you got to put it S tier. I mean, when you look at these even from like, a far smaller, depending what device you're using, pretty small or something, you just see how beautiful it is, how you have the pink connecting in both, all the different colors. The Sawsbuck looking back to the Deerling. It's beautiful. I think they deserve S tier, so they're going to go there. And now we have the Litten. Another one that's kind of forgettable, but this is a really cute artwork. Now, having the Littens, having two of them with one of them kind of hiding and then one of them just, doing the classic cat thing of just lying down wherever it lies down. Now, the one that's in the bookshelf, it's a bit awkward because, these books look to go to the very back, so in that front it is a bit awkward. But having the one that's just lying on the books is such a cat thing to do. And you have the other cat-like Pokemon around. You have a couple of Meowths, hanging around. You have, the Zeraora. You have the Shiny Litten. You have the Meowsticks. I believe there's, a Berserker in the bottom left corner. I can't fully tell, but there's another one there. Then you have the Incineroar, and you have the Wishy-Washy, little toys. It's a beautiful card. I do think that this is not a super good card in terms of, being an S tier. I think this is an A tier. It's just, if you have a cat, this is such a cat card. I think it deserves to be there. Now the Snom. Look, this is almost as basic as can get, but people love this thing, and this is a really, really beautiful illustrated card. Having all, icicles around it, having the Snom be this highly, textured, detailed Pokemon is really beautiful. Having the background scenery in the bottom of the card is solid. And then you even have the teeny little bit of, webs that you have around it, which is just nice. Bottom line is, though, it still isn't the most insane artwork because the bottom. I think it's a B tier. It's a beautiful card in terms of, how it's done. But I think when you compare it to these ones, it's again back to that emotional appeal. You have ones that have emotional appeal versus the Snom, so we're going to put it B tier. Overall, a really solid start for the illustrationers. Got 6 from the high tiers, and then Chargebug. This is a good one. I mean, Charjabug, obviously one of those electric Pokemon, having it be around basically like charging everything. Obviously, I mean, this kind of the jokes. The name is Charge-a-Bug. So it's a really nice one there. You have like the little radio, the lamp, the little, coffee or tea cooker, kettle, whatever that is, and the other lamp. It's a really nice card. The people around it, this is a really nice card as well. I don't think this is an insane one. Again, I think this is another above average one that goes to the B tier. Still a really solid one, so we're going to put it there. And now we have the Bronzor. Look, this style of artwork is just, I don't know. I haven't been the biggest fan of some of the other ones. Some of them I have been. This is one that I do think is the first weak illustration of the set. Yes, the Bronzor looking in a mirror that just so happens to look like a Bronzor in terms of the shape is funny. But, I don't know. I don't think it's the greatest illustration of all time. It just feels kind of out of place to put it in there. And so I do think this is a lower one. I don't think this is awful, but honestly, I think this is a D tier. It's not F bad, but it's not really that good one, so we're going to put it in D. Now we have the Rheoniclus. This is a nice one. You have the whole evolution line. You have Duosion, Solosis all around, just chilling in the beach, just vibing. It is a really cute card on that front. And honestly, it's hard for me to put exactly where this should go. Again, the shine is really beautiful. The water cards can be done really, really well. And historically, especially the beach illustration rares, you think like the Squirtle, they've been really solid. This is another really good one. Rheoniclus is kind of a weird Pokemon to choose for this, though. But I think it's another B tier. I don't think it's... Again, it's tough to be in the A tier with these ones, but I think it's still a really good one. Now, Cutiefly. This is a funny one. I remember seeing this, I was like, man, this is hilarious. Best part about this, it shows how small Cutiefly is. Cutiefly is like Joltik. It's one of those Pokemon that is insanely small. And like the Joltik illustration we saw earlier, this really shows it. You're being compared to a Route 1 bird Pokemon, and you're teeny compared to it. Like, you're small. When these water droplets are, like, legitimately as big as, like, one of your feet, that's pretty funny. So I think this is a really beautiful one. Again, it's one of those illustrations that are just done really, really well. The water looks gorgeous coming from the fountain. I think this is an A tier one. It shows what Cutiefly is really well. I think it deserves it. Now we have the Relicanth. Relicanth, this ancient Pokemon that's a nightmare to catch in the games. You need to catch it to get the Reggies. This is a great way of showing the scenery. It's deep in the ocean. You've got, you even have like some Lileeps at the very bottom. The Pokemon that's supposed to be extinct, which kind of fits with the same with Tirtuga. And you have Luminion and Shelder, Huntail. The Huntail is really nice to put there, but I would have wished that they had a Clamperl there as well. Like, I feel like if instead of the Luminion, you had a Clamperl or a Gorbis, it would have made even more sense. Because they got like 3 false Pokemon. And again, the whole point of this thing is that it's like the ancient Pokemon that's just still around at the very, very, very bottom of the sea. Right? If you know the games, you almost always have to dive for it. Aside from the games you can't dive, then it's like usually a Super Rod catch that's rare. This is a really nice one. I do think that because of some of the things, I got to put it in B tier. Could have been a solid A tier, maybe even a borderline S tier, but I got to put it in B. Now, Excadrill. This is a nice one. Having them interact with the humans, all of them working in this drill or in this mine is really nice. You have the one that's poking out its head like it was still working, seeing these guys taking a break. You have the 2 of them that are sleeping at the very bottom, which is very cute. This is a really nice card in terms of, again, showing Pokemon doing human things. Like the Steelix from a couple sets ago. It's a really nice one that gives a lot of world building in just a card. Gotta put it in A tier. Now we have the Mudsdale. The Mudsdale, this is a nice one. I don't think this is as good as one. Having the Mudbright is really cute. Having it completely fail at kicking that little hay bale is hilarious as well, which I will say. But, I don't know. I feel like for an illustration rare, when you go to the Excadrill, that one, it's not even close. I honestly think it's C tier. I think it is weaker than all of the ones in B tier. It's still a good one. It's just not that good. So, yeah. Now, Arbok. This is a cool one. Now, this one is one of those that isn't the most insane in terms of a lot of things, but what it does is it does really well. You have the very center of the card. You have this white circle that's clearly supposed to be the moon. You have it being like it's in a tree. You have a toucan that's, just there, and then Arbok is about to strike on it. It's a really nice card in terms of telling a story immediately. Snap of the fingers, you can tell exactly what's going on. A card being able to tell a story is beautiful. A tier. Now we have the Ghastly. Not the biggest fan of this one, honestly. I'm really not. Like, It is cool that you have, the one Ghastly appearing to see the Meowth, because then you get a focal point Pokemon where he's clearly, okay, this is a Ghastly card. But having them all just kind of, floating around the street, I don't know. I don't really think this is a great card. I think it's just having a lot on it without it really doing a lot. Like, you've heard of less and more. This is more is less, and I think it's D tier. Again, it's not bad, but I think it's D tier. Now we have the Metagross. I didn't even know this card existed, and I'm not really shocked looking at it now. I say now as in when I, first saw this one again. Like, yes, in theory, it's, them doing human stuff tasks, but this one doesn't work as well as, like, the Excadrill, because it's, like, really wild use. It's, like, a funny use of Metagross for this. Overall, it's one of those where it feels like you just kind of plopped a Pokemon in a setting and had him do things, instead of it meaning anything or making a lot of sense, at least to me. Yes, they talk about the magnetic powers are stronger in freezing temperatures. So then, why don't you have the magnetic energy be stronger with, like, actual metal stuff instead of them just, moving snow? I kind of get it, but this case, I don't know. It's weird because, yes, from a Pokédex standpoint, it makes sense why they'd be in the snow here. But in terms of what they're doing exactly, like, I honestly feel like the snowplow here shouldn't be here. If the snowplow wasn't here, I think this card would actually be better. But because it's there, I think I got to put it in C tier. Just kind of takes away from the whole Metagross point. And now we have the Melton. One of the weirdest mythicals ever, because I believe Melton is still mythical. I don't think it's just metal. As this one itself. You have all of these Meltans around this, forge having stuff done to it. Dissolved eats metal, liquid metal and all that, and it's, in there with the sparks, which it obviously enjoys. It's a cute one. Meltan is, of course, a cute Pokemon. It's just that not everybody have ever really used it because of how you had to get them. But I think this is a solid one. I don't think this is an incredible one, but I'm going to put it in B tier. I think it's a nice one. Now the Lickitung. This is what you think when you think of Lickitung. When you think of Lickitung, you think of it eating. Would have been a really cool callback if they used sushi instead of this to, the Pokemon Stadium game, or minigame, I should say. This is still a really nice one. This is one that works perfectly. You have stuff in the top, the background that actually makes sense here. You have it being like, it's just sneaking in, kind of. It's got the berries in the background, but it ain't going for the berries. It's going for the junk food. You got the drawings there. It's a really cute card in that front. This little snow cone maker, whatever it is. I think this deserves A tier. It's a really nice one. This set, man, it's a really solid set of illustration rares. Because now we have the Chatot. And this one is, I think, a worse version of the P-Dub. We've seen this before, also with the Swablu. This is just kind of like them continuing to do things that worked really well in the past, but not to as good an extent. Now, also, I will say, yes, before somebody tries to actually me, yes, I get it. The whole point of this artwork is to be super clever with it being, a musical staff. You have the treble clefs there, just coincidentally being there, and you just have coincidentally power lines to be there right where the Chatot is. That is super clever. I'm not going to sit here and say that's not. And using the socks as like rest, I would imagine is what the point of that is. It's clever. I still don't think this is an incredible artwork. I think that doing this for a gag is funny AF. If you know, you know. But in terms of the overall, it just feels like they were going for like what they did with like the Starly in the past and the Swablu, and it's just not as good. But because of instead of it being like a D or a C tier, because of how clever it is, I got to put in B tier, but it could have been higher. Now the Minccino. Now the Minccino also goes into Cinccino. This is one of the storyline ones that I'm not really the biggest fan of because it doesn't really make a ton of sense. Like, it evolves, and it's like, Cinccino is the one that wants to be super clean and all that, and it's great, but I don't know. The whole point is that they both kind of do, it's just Cinccino more to an extent. But this one, not the biggest fan of it. I think this is kind of a mediocre one. I'm going to put it in C tier. Cinccino makes more sense than the Minccino. Still not my favorite. Having the other Pokemon is cute, but I think this is honestly pretty quick B tier. Now you have the Drampa. Honestly, I don't know what to really think of this one. Pretty sure this is a reference to like that one movie that I just can't remember. I think it's like The Land Before Time or something like that. It's like that one movie that's similar to this. But overall, like, if you get it, I think it definitely deserves higher. But for this specific one, I don't know. It just, It's really funny. Like, I don't know. I think it's a good one. I don't think it hits me the same because I'm pretty sure this is kind of in reference to a movie. Yes, I know it talks about playing with children in the Pokédex, but I think that this technically is like referencing a movie that I never really watched, so I'm not going to be able to hit it the same. I think to me it's an okay one. It's C tier. Overall, for the illustration rares, this is like almost as just without fail as you can get. I mean, there's really no real bad illustration rares in this set. Again, this is a big part of why I think that this era of this Scarlet Violet era, like this Paradox era, is super underappreciated. Because the amount of good illustration rares from Paradox Rift in this set is just absurd. Yet, people only want to talk about the big SIRs from like Prismatic and Destined Rivals. These couple of sets, banging. Now, as for the illustration rares, you got Iron Leaves. I've seen this one in person. I didn't pull it, but I was with somebody who did pull it. It's a good card. It's not a great card to me. Honestly, spoiler, I'm not really a big fan of most of the SRs from this set in terms of them being like high tier ones. I think this is probably one of the weaker ones. It's just, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm going to put it in D tier. I don't think it's awful, but I don't think it's that good. Now, Gouging Fire. Obviously, Entei. The Gouging Fire one, honestly, this is a nice one. This is a lot like the Koraidon, where you have it in this, lush jungle with a bunch of stuff around it. It's like the Koraidon from base set Scarlet Violet. It makes sense having him there. It's a really nice story there. Yes, it's a fire type, but, fire type can be, where it wants to be. It's a really nice one. I do think it deserves to be high. I think this is an A tier. I don't think it's an S tier SIR, but it's a really solid one. Now we have the Walking Wake. Not the biggest fan of this one. It's not as bad as the Iron Leaves, but it's not as good as the Gouging Fire. I think this one is just kind of awkward. Him just kind of on this branch. I don't know. The bottom half is almost just pointless. Like, it's mainly there just to show how high up it is, but it doesn't do enough to make it look like it's super high. I think it's a C tier. Now we have the Iron Crown. The fact that this was like for a day or something, I believe the most expensive Scarlet Violet era card is wild. Because, like, really? Like, number one, there ain't that many Cobalion fans out there. I know there's a lot of Gen 5 fans like me, but I know there ain't this many Cobalion fans. I know there ain't this many Iron Crown fans. This is a nice card. I don't think it's even as good as the Gouging Fire, but I do think it's better than the Walking Wake. I think having the moon in the background is a really nice touch. It gets this futuristic feel of it, despite being on, actual life. I think it's a B tier. It's good, not incredible. Now the Iron Boulder. Kind of a weird one. It's like one of those where it's like, what are you even looking at? Because you think of Terrakion and you think of it being in like a mountain, not in like lava-looking puddles. But is it a lava puddle? You don't really know. Honestly, I think this is probably the weakest illustration rare in this entire set, if I'm not going to lie. I just don't like this one. Hot take, I'll put it in F tier. Raging Bolt. Okay. Seen this a ton on PTCGL. This card art itself, again, it's not that good. It's okay. The artwork style just, to me, doesn't fully work with what they're trying to do. Yes, having the cliffs on the side is a nice touch, and it's going to move it up a tier where I would have put it. That's why I'm going to put it in C tier, because that is, again, really solid to have that, but there. And now we get to the trainer SIRs, which these ones are a mixed bag. Salvatore. Not a fan of this one, like, at all. Like, I don't know. Salvatore is one of those that, again, it's one of those characters you don't really think about a lot in the game. But in terms of this, it's like you're showing a lot of his room with a lot of stuff in it. But Salvatore is supposed to be the main focus. And it's not like... There's a couple of trainers this really can work for. I don't really think this is one of them. It just feels like you did the dart artwork that Tatsu always does. It just does not work. I really don't like this one. I've got to put it in F tier as well. Just not a fan of it at all. Bianca's Devotion. This is a really nice one. This is a nice one. Having Bianca sleeping and Musharna sleeping is really cute, having them both together. Having the trainer and the Pokemon do the same thing. It's like, people talk about like dogs, right? Dogs imitate, their master. Very similar Pokemon and trainers in the lore. So this is really cute to have it like that. And it's just a nice looking card. Again, the light work is done really, really well. Where you can clearly tell, the window in the background is just done really well. And something as small as that being done well is great. I don't think this is the best trainer SIR I've ever seen, but I think it's a nice one. I think it deserves A tier. And now we have Eerie. Now, this is a fantastic artwork. This is beautiful. When you face her, you're like, whoa, okay, this is a big deal. Because obviously it's like part of the whole lore. She is this huge, big girl, and she's got this menacing team of fighting types. You know, Passimian, if I'm not mistaken his name. Then obviously you have Lucario, Toxicroak, and Annihilate. It's an insane team. The getup she wears, it's an insane look. And this card fully encompasses that. You really can't get much better with this one. Like, this is one of those cards where if you're like the Lucario super collector and you collect the cameo cards, you're insanely stoked this is one of them. This is one of the best trainer SARs in the entire series. Insta S tier deserves it. Morty's Conviction. This is a good one. Not a great one. It's cute. The Gengar coming out of the shadow, which we've seen it do numerous times. The anime is great. The Pidgey just giving it the death stare is kind of funny. And then you have the other Pidgey just there, and then Morty just, kind of vibing with an acorn. It's nice. It's just when you compare it to the Eerie, it's like no contest, but I think it's B tier. I think it's clearly worse than Bianca, but it's still a good one. And overall, that'll do it for the tier list. When you look at it, this was a really, really good set again. This is another one of those just really, really solid sets. Mainly it's the SIRs that are kind of weak with like these three, 2 of the 3 Swords of Justice Future Trio, and then the Salvatore. But the Eerie is insanely good. The Bianca is really solid, and you have a couple other decent ones. Overall illustration is incredible. But overall, that'll do it. This has been Zomfox. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified when I upload any videos. Think about watching the entire playlist. You'll come up in your screen in a few, where I have the entire playlist I've done, obviously, scrolling up until this one. And plan to upload these every other week. We still got a decent amount of sets left. Obviously, we still have another specialty set. Actually, technically 3 with Black Belt and White Flare. Still have, some of the big boy sets in terms of money stuff. Still got, like, Stellar Crown, but be looking for all those. And as always, guys, have a great night.